a part of them. Never be enough on the prodigal son. I was born to run, I was born to believe.
It is senior day for the Dayton Flyers, a chance to celebrate, a chance to reflect, but this game has not only sentimental value. Dayton welcomes in two-time PFL defending champion Drake, and they've got a chance here this afternoon with a win to jump right back into the conference title conversation. 5-1 Bulldogs team in the house this afternoon as they look to stay ahead of the rest of the league as they vie for a third straight PFL crown. Alongside Josh Copeland, I'm Luke Westpoli. Thanks so much for being with us this afternoon. And Josh, Dayton certainly welcomed in that bye week after a difficult road trip out west to San Diego. Flyers really just did not feel like they executed the game plan at all, ended up on the minus side in terms of rushing yards and just couldn't really get anything going until very late in that game. Fortunately, you get 2 full weeks to prepare for the top dog in the PFL right now, and this Dayton team feels that they're more than ready.
Yeah. Anytime you have a showing like that and you didn't perform your best, you're always eager to get back. But sometimes after a bye week, you have those 2 weeks to rest, to get the guys healthy again, get some guys some more film time. You get to study, you get to plan. So I guarantee that one of my keys for victory for them today is establishing the run. They wasn't able to do that in San Diego, but now you can have the time, and you had the time to prepare. So establishing the run early and getting the run going, that will help them out today in this game.
Dayton coming off the loss to San Diego on the road. For the Drake Bulldogs, they still sit atop the PFL, but are coming off their first conference loss of the season against St. Thomas. Again, they have been one of the most formidable teams in the PFL over the last handful of years under a new coach this season in Joe Woodley, who moved across town after one of the most decorated careers at the NAIA level, and he has continued things on to Division I here with Drake in year 1. Kick goes out the end zone. Drake won the toss. They deferred, and so we'll see the Dayton offense to start the game. And again, for this Flyers team, Drew Van Fleet now with a few starts under his belt this season after the season-ending injury to Bryce Schondelmeyer. Van Fleet last week, 18 for 30, last game I should say, 18 for 30, 220 yards, 2 picks, and 2 touchdowns. And starts out of the gun for the Flyer offense. They hand it off on first down, and Luke Hansen barrels forward and picks up maybe a yard.
Yeah, I mean, you get Hansen the ball early and often, try to get him to establish the run, and if you can control the line of scrimmage, especially against a good Drake team, you can control that line of scrimmage and get positive yards on the ground. That opens up the passing game for Van Fleet, and that opens up other things, so they kind of complement each other. So you definitely want to get the running game started early.
Drake's the second best in terms of total defense in the PFL. Top 4 in defending the ground game. First time Schondelmeyer, or rather, first time Van Fleet throws, he goes to the air to the near side, and it falls incomplete, looking for Michael Masseri.
Yeah, he had him open there, just kind of underthrew the out right there on the sideline. But those are things that you want to see completed, though. You get your second and long, and you can have a chance to go 3rd and 3 there for that completion. So those are little timing things that sometimes coming off their bye, you just got to work through those. But I look for them to come back to that because that was a great play call, and he was open on that play.
Van Fleet, full-time starter last season. Now the starter for the back half of the year for Dayton. Empty on third down, over the middle, it's hauled in. Throw into a tight spot, and Ethan Thulin picks up the first down.
Great play. Way to sit in the pocket right there. Way to deliver that right down the hash. You had the linebacker, number 33, kind of backing up and backpedaling. He was able to hit it right over the linebacker, and there was a great catch right there to keep the hands and eyes on the ball when you got hands in the way.
Into a tight window. Thulin's come on strong. Season high 6 receptions for him in the San Diego game for 74 yards. Handoff to Gavin Lacco, and he finds a hole. Lacco spins away and may have been gone if he could have slipped out of that second tackle. He's dropped, though, after a chunk run on first down.
Great play. Great two plays right there. Two big chunk plays right there. He gets the ball kind of inside zone and is able to cut it back right there. Good block. And when you get somebody like that in open field, it's kind of hard to tackle and bring down. But those are two great play calls right in a row. So let's see if they can keep this momentum going.
They keep Laco in the backfield. Again, a receiver who also takes snaps at the quarterback spot and also runs. And here we see a little bit of a wildcat look for him, but Drake sets the edge, and Laco is driven out of bounds by Garrison Cotty, the defensive back, after no gain. They'll actually call it a loss of 1.
Yeah, they've been going to this wildcat with Laco the last couple of weeks, and it's working obviously, because when you can get him the ball in his hands early and often, that just adds a little level of uncertainty from the defense, because he can just hit you in so many different levels in different ways.
Laco is a high school quarterback. He takes the snap again here on 2nd down and shuffles ahead.
Yeah, it just throws a different wrinkle in there, and it's just one more thing that the defense has to account for, right? Not only him in the receiving game, but he can be running back, and he can actually throw a ball. So it's kind of like, how do you defend somebody who can do so many different things? So they're utilizing him the best way they can.
They use the term athlete in football recruiting. There are a lot of guys that change positions when they get from high school to college, and Laco has been one, but he's kept that versatility and is into year 3 at Dayton doing it all. Van Vliet to the air, checks it down, and Laco couldn't hang on in traffic.
Oh, they had him open too on the screen. It was kind of a little rush there. He kind of threw it a little low, but that was open. They had the lineman out in front ready to block. So once again, I like UD's play calling on this drive, even though it probably looked like a punt here, but they had momentum. They had 2 plays they missed with Van Vliet down the sideline. So I think that their script for the first 10 plays is definitely working. They're definitely getting the looks they want.
Top punter in the PFL for average, Logan Forkham. Trying to coffin corner this one. Fair catch called for, but it falls short of Jackson Voth, the return man. Touched up by Dayton just outside at the 20-yard line. And now we see the Drake offense go to work. And they are good. They're good at converting. Top 3rd down offense in the PFL. They score just over 28 points per game, but coming off a frustrating week against St. Thomas, in which they outgained the Tommies 315 to 252, but went just 3 for 11 on 3rd down and 1 for 4 on 4th down uncharacteristically. They hand it off on 1st down, and backwards running as the Flyers rally to the football. Nick Herman gets the initial carry for Drake, and he loses 3.
Yeah, great penetration right there. He set the edge, and when you can get in the backfield like that and you get a tackle for loss, I believe that was number 75, he was able to get back there, and when you can move the line of scrimmage back, you're able to control that, and that puts Drake in a tough position on 2nd down.
Mirko Jakcic on the TFL, and that throw just a little bit out of reach. Looking for Taj Hughes. All Pioneer League selection last year, was their leading receiver a year ago. And you rarely, with as good as this Drake team runs the football, see a situation like this where they get off schedule and now they face a 3rd and long.
Yeah, they're normally the aggressors, and especially early in the game, they're normally able to have their way. But UD, they definitely look like they had a great 2 weeks of practice with the bye week, and they come out flying around, and they're coming out playing hard, and they know what's at stake. A win here could be big for them.
3rd down and 12. Logan Inagawa, the true freshman quarterback, tuck and run. He did not get there.
Great defense right there. Great coverage. They had a wheel route kind of running out that he was looking for down the sideline, and the DB was right there. He read it the whole way. And when you have a great defense like UD does, and when they're able to be disciplined and look at their keys, that makes it hard for offenses to score and move the ball.
Dayton switched up their returning a little bit of late. Paul Kelly's done a nice job returning punts. Ryan Schroeder on to punt it away for the Bulldogs.
See if they bring the house. It looks like they got people there.
Kick is booted away, end over end. Kelly has some space. Kelly works it up the boundary, but a good wrap up in the open field. Kelly is tackled after a short return by Tay Proctor for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, this is a great start to the game for Dayton, right? You get offense, you move the ball down the field, have 2 big explosion plays, then get Drake to go 3 and out on defense. So that's how you want to start the game. And sometimes, especially late in the season, after a bye, you have to worry about your guys coming out a little stagnant, a little lag, right? A little with not enough energy just because they had off. But UD has answered the call, and they know what's at stake if they can beat a very good Drake team that puts them right in position they want to be for the PFL.
Liam Peronsky is in at quarterback for the Flyers, who entered the year as the 3rd string. He whips it to the outside for Laco, and he's run out of bounds after a nice first down catch and run.
Yeah, it seems like their idea for the day is get Laco the ball as many times as we can, right? Like that's their strategy because he's been in shotgun, he's been in wildcat. They're getting the ball on the screen. So once again, when you have a dynamic player like Laco, you have to get him the ball as often as you can to get him going.
Didn't get a ton of touches against San Diego, just 3 receptions, which is, again, not very many by his standards. They target Thulin over the middle, and it falls off his fingertips.
Yeah, that was, when you don't have the production you want in one game and you end up not producing in offensive wise, when you go back to the film, you're like, how can we improve, right? And one of those things they decided was to get him the ball often and early. But that was another mishap right there on a slant route inside. You convert that's first down. So those are little things that they can fix up to, continue this drive.
3rd down and 1. Luke Hansen, the running back. They give to him, and Hansen picks it up.
Yeah, great play call. And like you said, after San Diego game when they was in the minus in the rushing yards for the game, that's a kind of a gut check to the lineman, to the O-line, and to the offensive coordinator. You have to be able to run the ball, right? And that should be – because you can run the ball in the rain, when it's cold, when it's wet, when it's windy. So that should be your staple of an offense is being able to run the ball. And when you don't, you have to come back the next game and establish that.
Dayton's trying to get it going early. They've got a fresh set of downs. Van Vliet on the tip drill to the far side. That was nearly intercepted.
Yeah, that was – good thing that got knocked down because that was going to be a house call right there. That the linebacker broke on that quick little out right there, and it was in the boundary short side. So the linebacker broke with good line. The D line hit the ball and knocked it down because that was going to be an interception, and nobody was in front of him after that.
Yeah, Jack Ward around the edge for Drake. Almost 6th that. Liam Peronsky back in the game at QB for Dayton. Handles a high snap. Takes the run himself, and he's tripped up.
Yeah, Drake has been. They've been stout on defense, right? You give up some big plays there, but you've gotten Dayton in the 3rd down a couple times this quarter already. So this is one of those defenses where we call it they bend but don't break, right? They give a couple yards, they give, and then they take away. So they're going to look for them to kind of bring pressure here and try to force a quick throw on 3rd and 7.
Shaku Sangari made the tackle to set up a 3rd and medium for the Flyers. Peronsky still in. That's a backwards pass to Laco, but he's bottled up. Following the short pickup, nowhere to go as it's Tay Proctor again, the Iowa native, to bring Laco down. Goes for a 1-yard loss, and Logan Forkham has to come out again for the Flyers.
Yeah, that was an interesting play call, but sometimes early in the game you do things to kind of see how the defense reacts, right? And I will give you my prediction here in a little bit on why they ran that play, but I will see. But they do that just to try to see how the defense reacts and so they can make adjustments later on in the game.
Forkham barely gets rid of that. Sidewinding punt. Again, not returnable for Voth because, again, it lands in front of him, and now good field position for the Drake offense as they get set for their 2nd drive of the game, approaching the midway mark of the 1st. Drake was down pretty quickly by Dayton their first time out. Didn't have a big chance to talk about this offense. Again, third in total offense in the PFL, fourth in scoring. But average over 180 yards per game on the ground. And if you can hold on to a football and you can run, they're going to use you out of the backfield for Drake. They use receivers, they use running backs, they use their quarterback, Logan Inagawa.
Yeah, anytime you can establish the run, you eat up the clock, you make it hard for the defense to stop it. And there we go right here, a little quick pitch out there to the outside. But yeah, when you can establish the run early, we talk about this in any game. You have the advantage because you eat up the clock for one. For two, you wear down the defense because they're constantly blocking, they're constantly trying to get off blocks, and then also that opens up the passing game, right? When you have a lot of success in the run game, now you have to stack more people in the box to defend it, which opens up the receivers downfield.
Dayton's defensive front has handled this run game well so far. 2nd and 9. It's a keeper, and Inagawa swarmed.
Dayton's they're fired up, and they're fired up. They had a good week of practice coming in. You get penetration there in the offensive line. That's a couple tackle for loss right there for the defensive lineman. But when you can get in the backfield that quick, it just disrupts everything. And then not even just the run game, but also in the passing game, because now you have the linemen know that they can get beat, right? So now they're going to be a little quick to set. You might get some offside penalties, some false starts. So that when you can establish the line of scrimmage early, that just helps you out throughout the game.
Gustav Damon on the TFL. It's another 3rd and long for Drake. Time for Inagawa over the middle. Connects with a receiver, but Chase Shuddy, the tight end, and the Northern Illinois transfer is short. And Drake, again, is going to bring out the ST unit.
Yeah, great defense right there, defensive stop. Dayton ran a zone, right? And when you run a zone, you just want to keep everything in front of the sticks, right? You want to keep everything. You want to give them 5 to 7 yards and just rally and make a tackle, and that's exactly what they did because they know they just needed to stop them.
So another punt here for the Bulldogs. Flies over Kelly's head and into the end zone for a touchback. Just over 5 minutes remaining opening quarter. And both of these teams who have done good things on the offensive side traditionally this season, a couple of the highest powered offenses in the PFL, both top 4 in scoring, averaging over 28 a game, have not had a whole lot of movement so far. Dayton has tried a lot of different things, and they'll start with Drew Van Vliet in at quarterback. Counter for Hansen, and he picks up 3.
Yeah, you mentioned that both offenses are high-powered, right? And so when here's the thing about a good offense makes their defense better because that's who you go against in practice, right? So when you have 2 good offenses going against each other, their defenses are going against that good offense. So when you play another offense equally as good, it's not that big of a surprise, let's say, if they have good receivers and good running back, because you've seen it all week and all year.
Close to the sticks for Bryce Cowgill. And he does pick up the first down.
Yeah, Dayton, they are just marching along. They're taking what Drake is giving them on the defensive side. They're taking the outs. They're taking the quick passes. They're running the ball. They're getting Lockie back there on the Wildcat offense. So they are able to establish what they want to do, and it looks like they're having some success.
Cogill, one of a number of rotating tight ends for this Dayton team, and Laco continues to get it done on the ground. He's dragged down by the final man back there for the Bulldogs, Garrison County, after a huge run.
Yeah, you get him back there in the Wildcat, and it's just a great blocking by the O-line. They opened up the hole right there in the A-gap, and he was able to just run right up the middle, right? And when you can get that much yardage and that explosive of a play just running right up the middle, you're doing something right. And Drake was kind of fooled off guard right there, but look for UD to come back to that, and I would say maybe get a shot for the end zone here within the next couple plays, just to take a shot down the field, right? You have explosion plays. Let's just test the defensive backs.
Liam Peronsky, the quarterback. Hansen nearly broke that out. And another chunk run for the Flyers. We saw this a couple of weeks ago on this field. Dayton was struggling a little bit early on offensively. Got a huge Laco run on a Wildcat play, similarly to what we just saw, and that completely opened up their offense.
Yeah, when you are kind of not struggling, let's say you're moving the ball, but you're getting 3 or 4 yards here and there. But when you can have a big explosion play, that gets everybody excited, right? You was like, okay, we can move the ball, we can get big plays, and then they led to a quick touchdown on that play.
2nd down and 4. Give to Hansen again. Can't spin away this time.
Yeah, they definitely, this is kind of a night and day team from San Diego, right? San Diego had minus 6 yards rushing on the day, and now you already had Laco with a 30-yard run right there, and so it makes it easy when you can establish, like you talk about, establishing the run that opens up the pass. And I wouldn't be surprised if Van Fleet was able to take a shot downfield, because now Drake is putting people in the box to stop the run.
3rd down and 2. Kicking game is not a guarantee for the Flyers, so this may be 4-down territory. Hansen again. Says don't even worry about it. Flyers move the chains.
Yeah, great job right there. Now you just want to get the first down, right? You talk about being in 4-down territory. You're not in a rush, let's say, to score, so to say, which means you don't have to try to score right there. You can get the first down, regroup, get your guys back on the field, and just chip away until you get to the end zone.
This has been what this season has turned into for Luke Hansen. He's been the feature back for Dayton this year after spending a couple of seasons as the number 2. Van Vliet to the end zone, intercepted! It's picked off in the end zone. Sean Allison, the top tackler in the Pioneer League, comes up with the pick. The linebacker gets a huge turnover for the Bulldogs to keep this game scoreless.
Yeah, that was they ran that same exact play earlier in the game, and Laco was able to get it right over the linebacker's hands, right? It was the one where he almost intercepted it then in the middle of the field, but when you get down in the red zone, that window shrinks even more because the safeties aren't as back. They don't have to backpedal as fast. The linebacker can drop back. So I saw what he was trying to do because he hit it earlier in the game, but that was a great play right there by that linebacker to intercept that.
So that sets up the Drake offense from the 20. Nick Herman, the freshman, again goes backwards as the Flyers' defensive front is swarming. Really one weak point for Drake statistically on either side of the football, really in all 3 phases. Good offense, good defense, good special teams. They don't turn you over, though, much. And so that is a big pick to shift some momentum in their favor. But again, this Flyer defense has shown up so far through the first couple drives. Inagawa to the outside, quick hitter for Jackson Voth, and he picks up about half the yardage back. Sets up a manageable 3rd down. Jackson Voth transferred in the offseason from Kansas State, where he redshirted last year. State title at Cheney High School in Kansas. Their first in school history. They went undefeated when he was a senior. And for Joe Woodley, they were pretty aggressive out of the portal. They brought in a couple of Power 4 guys into this program, in addition to a number of players from the FBS level. Voth has had the most success of all of them as their top receiver. And on 3rd down, another quick slant, and the first down picked up as it's Taj Hughes, who was their leading receiver last year, to get him out to the 40-yard line. Now we see Drake pick up some tempo. Inagawa on the keeper. brought down by the shoestrings.
Yeah, you mentioned when you can bring that level of talent into a program, let's say now with the portal being open and available, right, year in and year out, it's all about how they mesh together, right? Because you're bringing in different personalities, you're bringing in people that had different success at different levels, especially P4 schools coming in. So it's managing those egos, and if I don't want to say they egos in a bad way, but just those players and what they bringing in. But he's able to do that, and put together a great year so far. Being tops of the conference and having a great offensive, great offensive scheme and great offensive statistics year in and year out.
Drake does not have to run another play in the quarter. Do take the snap, though. Inagawa gets rid of it, and it's brought in by Shuddy, and he picks up the first down.
That was very close to being another sack right there. That was a slow developing play. You was the misdirection. You want to fake the pitch, get the linebackers going one way, but he had a defensive end right in his face, and he was able to just get something flickered over the top, and there should be a linebacker there. Anytime you blitz somebody, or anytime there's pressure on one side, somebody has to replace that. And if they don't get there right in time, then it leaves open for a completion like that.
A defensive battle so far and a crucial PFL matchup. End of one. We're scoreless from Welcome Stadium here in Dayton. We'll step aside. Don't go anywhere. Second quarter from Welcome Stadium, and so far the defenses have come to play. Penultimate game of the regular season, two teams still alive. One is the front runner, one hunting from behind in the conference championship race. Drake has started to move the football for the first time. They have had some trouble, though, dealing with this Dayton defensive front.
Yeah, Dayton's defensive fronts have been stout at the line of scrimmage. They've been able to get penetration there. The linebackers are flying around. So it makes it tough to run on there when everybody's in their gaps and everybody is doing what they're asked to do, right? The big old cliche saying is just do your job, right? If you're supposed to be in a gap, be in the gap. If you're supposed to fight off a block, fight off the block, inside hand up. So I think they're doing a great job of that. And that helps coming off a bye week, right? You have a lot more time to prepare. You have a lot more time for guys to get healthy. And, after a bye week, you're excited to get back out there and play.
Trevor Andrews said they took a couple of consecutive days off during the bye week to really make sure that they were healthy and everything was squared away. And here's a chunk run to get into Flyer territory. It's Nick Herman again for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, when you have Nick Herman out there and he's running, I think he averages 6 yards a carry. That's huge right there. You can get him the ball early and often and get the run game going.
Inagawa on the keeper, and he adds about 10 more.
Yeah, if you're Dayton, you had the D-line doing penetration. Now they're looking to get the ball outside, right? They had a couple sweeps out there. Quarterback right there kept it, hit the outside corner, and that just frees up the line in the middle, right? Because you don't have to hold your block for long because you can just be outran to the outside and beat to the edge.
Again, it's Nick Herman, freshman out of Chicago. Powerhouse St. Rita High School. Again, an astounding 6.2 yards per carry for him in his true freshman season. He's the top rookie back in the Pioneer League.
Yeah, when you have a young guy like that that's coming in ready to play right away and able to make an impact, that gives you excited about the future, right, of what he can do. But also that lets the other guys know, hey, we can count on this young guy and let's step it up so that way we all can be on the same page and all have the success we're looking for.
Another handoff. This time it's Luke Woodson inside the 5. And Vincent Ferenzi brings him down just shy of the goal line, marked down at the 3.
Yeah, that's a great run right there. Dayton's D-line looks a little tired right here. They look a little bit exhausted. They're not firing off the ball like they were early in the first quarter. So that would be something to kind of look for. Maybe substitute guys in a little bit more, whatever they need to do. But when you're getting pushed back off the ball when you originally were the aggressor, that's something to be watched for the rest of the game.
And 2 weeks rest coming off the long West Coast road trip to San Diego for the Flyers. Inagawa goes straight ahead, and he pounds into the end zone for a Drake touchdown. 7th touchdown on the ground for the rookie quarterback this year, and Drake draws first blood as they finally pierce through this Flyer defense.
Yeah, they just marched right down the field. That's one of those things that they have success at, is staying with it, right? And you talked about their defense doesn't get a lot of turnovers, but when they do, they're able to capitalize on it, and that's exactly what they did right here.
PAT hooked, but sneaks inside the left upright for Harry Balke. And Drake makes it 7. Saw the Flyers start to get some early penetration, but in a game of inches, it felt like they were close to getting home on a couple plays. Instead of going backwards like they had on those first few drives, they were 3-4 yard rushes or completions for the Bulldogs, and then you really started to see the Bulldogs wear out that Flyer defense towards the end of the drive.
Yeah. Anytime you get, we call it sudden change, right? And your defense gets off the field, and then you go turnover, fumble, interception, they got to come right back on. Even though it was, you still had the end of the quarter, but that wears on the defense, right? Because you're getting more snaps, you're getting more plays in a shorter amount of time, and if you're not careful, you're bound to miss one thing. You're bound to not be in your gap. You're bound to just get reached when you're supposed to hold off that block. So little things like that, they magnify when you're on the field longer than you want to be.
It's getting pretty windy out there. Harry Balke is seeing that firsthand.
I will give UD credit, though. For the first quarter, they were 4 of 6 on third downs, and against San Diego, they were 1 of 12 on the day. So they're able to convert on those third down and keep their good drive going. So that's really good for them and their confidence.
Kelly across the 35. I think you're part on that kick, by the way. That was the kickoff specialist, Griffin Kohlhoff, who kicked it short. And Kelly sets the Flyers up with good field position, marked at the 39-yard line.
Yeah, with the wind into the kicker, so the ball didn't get as much distance as they would like, but you're in great field position in Dayton. Now you want to capitalize. You want to be able to at least put 3 on the board, if not 6, 7, so you want to be able to score on this drive. This is a very crucial down for UD in this game.
And Vliet over the middle. It's batted down again. This defensive line has had active hands for Drake today.
Yeah, they're coached up. If you can't get to him, put your hands up, right? And that's one of the things, especially UD with Van Fleet, they like to throw a lot of crossing routes over the middle or quick out. So if they're not going to give the defensive line time to get to them because they're not long developing plays. So if you can get any type of way and just get your hands up, that adds a little bit of frustration to the quarterback because you get those balls tipped when the receiver's open.
And Vliet just 2 for 7 to start. Dayton brings in Lacko to take the snap. He fakes the handoff to Peronsky, and Lacko gets a clean edge and gets close to the first down. They mark him a yard shy.
Yeah, great run right there by Laco. Great block right out there by the receiver to kind of seal the DB there so Laco can get out to the outside and gain a couple extra yards. And those are the little things, right? When you can hold your block a little longer, you're able to get 2 more yards, and then that turns it from 3rd and 7 to now 3rd and 2 or whatever it is. You can able to get those yardages, and that just adds to what you're trying to do in the offense.
Hansen barrels forward and picks up the first down. It's interesting. Earlier in the week, Levi Mail talking with the media, and he said the game plan was a fun one for this game, and you're wondering, what the heck does that mean? But you've seen the Flyers have some success. That was really how they broke that game open in the upset win over ranked Presbyterian. Mm-hmm. The amount of different looks you're seeing from this Flyer offense has just been huge.
Yeah, you're throwing different wrinkles in, and from an offensive guy, that's kind of exciting because you got different plays coming in that you practice all year. Maybe some trick plays thrown in there. Here goes a shot deep here. He got him open.
Masseri just out of reach.
They've been just a little off with their offenses, and sometimes, and people won't, if you're going with the wind and the wind at your back, sometimes that carries the ball 1 extra yard when you're throwing it downfield, right? And that's may not seem like a lot, but when you talk about just getting on the outskirts of the hands, and that could be the wind, right? And if you're throwing into the wind, it's going to be shorter. So those little things you don't really think about, but when it matters, it has an impact.
Snap goes over the head of Peronsky. He's just forced to dive on it. And that sets up a 3rd and forever for the Flyers. The wrinkles can be a ton of fun. They can be very entertaining, but we are starting to see the other side of that for Dayton, that they've struggled to get into any sort of rhythm offensively.
Yeah. When you can add those wrinkles in, and it's one thing to practice them all week, right? It's scripted. The defense knows what's going on. They're trying to let you get the look off. But when you're playing in real time and you're playing against a defense as good as Drake's defense, it adds a little bit more anxiousness, right? Somebody's a little bit more anxious with the snap. Somebody's a little bit more excited with the throw. So you have to have a balance of that.
3rd down for the Flyers. Another high snap. Peronsky comes down with it, running for his life, and he's dropped.
It's a flag.
Jacob Owen, the Des Moines native, comes up with the sack. That's his 4th of the year, a team high. But we'll check on the flag.
Sideline warning. Drake, sideline. The first infraction carries no yardage penalty. 4th down.
So the sack stands. Wow. And Jacob Owen sends Dayton packing way back inside their own 20-yard line. An alum of Valley High School in Des Moines, same as his head coach, Joe Woodley. And that is a statement drive for the Drake defense, who will now likely be set up with excellent field position.
Yeah, they had 2 plays right there for Dayton that didn't go the way they wanted, and that puts them in tough field position. And now, great kick right there, but you are allowing Drake to get good field position on the offensive side.
Jackson Voth stays on his feet, but a sea of red engulfs him. And the Bulldogs will start from just past the 30-yard line.
Yeah, I think UD right now the defense has to answer, right? Your offense has come to a stall. Drake's made a great adjustments for how to handle the Wildcat that UD's doing, and they're making great adjustments on the D-line, to kind of stop the run and stop what Dayton's great at. But now UD's defense time for them to step up and make a play, get a turnover, get a 3 and out, get the offense back the ball real quick, so now you can even the playing field.
Inagawa on the keep. Cuts close to the 35.
Yeah, that's a good play right there. Way to be disciplined. When you have a QB that can run and the dual threat quarterback, guys have to stay. Even if you're backside of the play, you still have to stay in your gap because he can cut it back. And the moment you try to get out of your gap and chase, and he cuts it back, he's going to hit that crease right where you were. So that's a great job by that backside defensive end to stay home there, even though the play was running away.
Kept on the ground again. Herman sheds a tackle. And Herman takes off. The freshman into the end zone. 66 yards.
He is special. That freshman right there is special. Those moves there that he did right there in the hole that's why he's the top of the PFL in rushing as a freshman, one of the top guys in the offensive side. But UD, that's one thing you didn't want to have happen. You had a guy there in position, right? When you and this is one of those, sometimes in football it's just mano a mano, one-on-one. He had to be able to make the play.
Flyers bring the rush, but the PAT knocked through by Harry Balke. And it's a 2-score lead for the Drake Bulldogs, who have their first real big play of the afternoon. And of course it's on the ground, and it is thanks to the freshman Nick Herman, the kid from Chicago, gives the Bulldogs their first 2-score lead.
Yeah, I mean, that was a great play call. He was able to get there, and that's with the speed he has to outrun the people after he made somebody miss. That's why he's special, right? And that's why he is who he is. But University of Dayton, you're not out of this game by any means, right? It's a 2-score game. You've had success, had a little bit of miscommunication on offense, just a little off on the timing with a couple of throws. But those things are easily corrected because that's promising to me because they're open. Right, the plays that he's had, they were open. They just miscommunicated there on a couple of things, or the timing was off. So those are good. If there's a problem, that's a good problem to have because you can correct those. Right, your guy's beating the guy one-on-one. You just got to hit him when he's open.
Just 2 plays for the Bulldogs to punch it into the end zone. Again, this is chipped short. Kelly escapes and gets out across the 40-yard line.
Yeah, this is a big drive for Dayton right here. How do you respond, right? It's one thing to come out, you're down 1 score, you don't have to rush anything. You're still kind of say, okay, we got this game. Now you go down 2 and you don't want to panic, but you want to have a sense of urgency, right? You have to be able to move the ball downfield. So maybe that's opening up a couple more passes, maybe throw a trick play in there, but you have to be able to get some momentum on the offensive side.
Dayton as a squad just 3 for 10 through the air. Laco has been their lone spark plug, and he gets the carry here on first down and is run out of bounds. If you're wondering, by the way, why Drake is kicking it short here in the second quarter on a couple of those kickoffs, which has set Dayton up with some good field position, that's not necessarily by design. They are kicking into a nasty headwind going left to right. And so the Flyers are the beneficiaries here in quarter number 2. Peronsky moves to the slot. Again, Laco does throw the ball, so not out of the question here for Dayton, but he does keep it himself here, and the Bulldogs were ready.
Yeah, it's tough because Dayton, obviously Laco, you have a lot of success. He had the long run earlier in the game, but when you're not throwing the ball downfield, you're not a downfield threat. So Drake can just keep the guys in the box. They can stack 8 guys in the box now, 9 guys, and just have 2 or 3 back in coverage because there's no threat of going down the field. So even if you don't complete it, you have to be able to just say, hey, we have this option. They did once and it was overthrown, but you have to come back to that to keep them honest on the defensive side.
Tristan Anderson made the stop. 3rd down for the Flyers. Van Vliet in trouble. Gets rid of it, and he finds Masseri, who hung on, went down to his backside, but got possession. That's a first down.
Yeah, that's exactly what we talked about, right? You got to be able to throw the ball. Van Fleet stepped up in the pocket here, keep his eyes down the field, and keeps the guy, Mercedes, down there on the sideline. But those are the plays that you need, right, to keep the offense on the field, to convert on second down, third down, to be able to get your offense momentum and confidence to say, hey, we can go down and score. We just had a struggle in the first quarter and a half, but we got this game. And if they can put a score here, that's huge for them.
Here's a trick play. Laco gets past the first, but still not much room. This Drake team has stayed on the football today despite a lot of window dressing from the Flyer offense.
Yeah. When you're disciplined and you can see your keys, we had an old saying when I played at University of Buffalo was, if you see your keys, you see the whole play. If you try to see the whole play, you won't be able to see your keys, right? So that's kind of a corny way to say you lock in on your key, the play comes and develops right in your middle of your face.
Dayton tried to go to the bag of tricks again. Laco does throw it, but it falls incomplete and sets up a third down. How were you on your keys against RG3?
Well, he was that was a little hard to be on the keys for him, right? That was we played him the year before he won the Heisman, and you're down in Waco, Texas. It's hot. You're tired. They're running RPOs, fast-paced offenses, trying to get 70 plays in a game. You're just lucky to get tackled and get off the field. So yeah, it was definitely interesting to play against.
Third down coming up here for the Flyers. There's a lot of movement up front. Play clock was also running down. It hit zeros, and Dayton did not get the snap off in time.
Offense. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
Yeah, those are just the mental mistakes that you can't have at this stage, right? You're trying to move the ball down the field. You get down to third down. You try a double pass and it doesn't work. So you're trying to do all these gimmicks reverse, and they're not seem to be working. You can't beat yourself with a delayed game like that.
So that puts the Flyers off schedule for a third and long. They're 6 for 9 so far, and Peronsky's dragged down.
And that was a wayward snap right there as well. They've had a couple of those in this quarter, and what that does, that just throws off the timing just a little bit with the quarterback and the receivers, especially if it's a pass. If it's a run, the quarterback can kind of bobble it and get it off. But if it's a pass, that just takes his eyes off the defense and goes to trying to establish control of the football. And when that happens, it kind of leave other people out to kind of hang out and dry.
Zach Adamo on the sack for Drake. That snap is pulled off the turf by Forkham, and Dayton can't get to this one before it reaches the end zone. Short snapping, long snapping, Flyers have had some trouble getting the football to their handlers so far today. Drake, meanwhile, has the chance to really put some distance between themselves and the Flyers. They'll get the ball out of halftime, and they're already up 2 scores with 5.5 to play.
Yeah. I mean, to start the game, they didn't start the game as well as they wanted to the first quarter, but now this second quarter, they come out firing, had some good defensive stops. So they're kind of right in their wheelhouse for what they want to do. They're in control of this game. Or if you're Dayton, you have to get a stop on defense right here. You have to force a punt. No field goal. You have to dig deep and say, what the season comes down to.
Around the edge for Herman. And those 3 to 4 yard runs on those first couple of drives are now turning into 10 to 15 very quickly for this Drake offense.
Yeah, they do a good job of getting one-on-one with people, right? When the long touchdown run, he was one-on-one with the DB. They do a good job of getting their running back in space and making the defender make a tough tackle. And if you do, you have to get 3-yard gain. But if you don't, now that opens up to 10, 12-yard gains that they're seeing right now.
Inagawa with some space. Inagawa approaches midfield.
That's great blocking by the offensive line, right? Anytime you get a QB to run and get 12 yards, 15 yards, there has to be great blocking. And he obviously has great QB vision, right, to run vision and feed off the blocks. But that just means that UD's not getting off of blocks. And that's what you want. You get off the block, make the play. Get off the block, make the play is what they've been preaching to them. And they haven't been able to do that right there on that drive.
A true freshman quarterback with 41 yards already on the ground. Now they give it to the other back in Luke Woodson, and he snags a pickup of 8.
Yeah, they look like they're in control of the offensive side of things. They're in control of the line of scrimmage. UD is now playing at Drake's pace, right? It's one of those they know that now we can get 5 yards a run as opposed to 3. We can get 7 yards here. So they're in no rush to throw the ball. They're in no rush to kind of do anything because they're in control right now, and UD has to shake that up. Get a fumble, force a turnover, something to get momentum back on your side.
Woodson driven back.
And that's a great start. That's a great start. Sometimes when, they're moving the ball real quick, it just takes one guy to beat their guy and get a tackle for loss. Now that puts them in 3rd down now instead of 1st. So now this is the type of momentum things that we're talking about with the confidence of the defense. Hey, we can get off the field and let's make a big play right here on 3rd down to get the offense back the ball.
Brandon Martin made that stop. Those Moeller Crusaders played a playoff game on this field last night against their arch rival Cincinnati St. Xavier. On 3rd down, Dayton almost got home. Inagawa running away, but Dayton won't let him get by. Josh Williams, the Dayton kid, with the sack. It's 4th down.
That's what you need right there. You get penetration in the backfield. You get a spark. It started with the tackle for loss the previous play, but now you get guys fired up, right? And they kind of had a little different spark in their eyes and in their momentum and the pep in their step. UD's defense did this drive, and that's what you want to see. You want to see your defense respond after giving 2 touchdowns, and you want to see them have some fight and get the offense back the ball.
Trouble with the snap, but it is booted away. This kick ends up way shallower, though, and it's fielded by Kelly near the 35 and plenty of traffic. That's where the Flyer offense will start. Chance for a 2-minute drill here. Doing some good things, but now would be a nice time to string something together and at least try to snag some points before half.
Yeah, you want to. You practice a 2-minute drill all week in practice, all year since training camp, and now you do not want to give Drake back to football. You don't. You want to control the clock. You want to march down the field, eat up the clock when you need to, get the 1st down. So that might be a little combination of passing and throwing. But a bobbled snap right there, a little low snap, they have to get that under control. So maybe that's taking extra snaps in the locker room or whatever it is, but you can't have the timing thrown off like that in a 2-minute situation because everything's such a timing. It has to happen right now.
Second down. Swing it to the outside for Donovan Weatherly, the tight end. And so that brings us to the 2-minute timeout.
That's the 2-minute timeout.
As Dayton set up with a 3rd down and 1 on the other side. We'll take a quick break. Flyers trying to get some points on the board before the half. They trail by 14. 3rd down and 2 coming out of the 2-minute timeout. Flyers got to pick this one up. They're trying to score before half. But again, it's Drake football to start the 3rd quarter. The give to Hansen, patient run, spins and crashes for the 1st down.
A great effort right there by him. Great effort. You can feel like he stopped in the line of scrimmage, but now you do the hurry up, right? You get the 1st down, now you get up to the ball and you try to continue to make some good plays for your team.
Finally a chance to set his feet, and Van Fleet connects. Locko up the far sideline, cuts it back into the red zone.
That's great play calling right there. You knew that's what, at the 2-minute warning, 2-minute timeout, that's what they drew up. They said, hey, we get this 1st down, rush up to the ball. We're going to call this very next play. He's going to be open in the flats, and that's exactly what happened. So that's what you want. You want them to execute what they're asked to do, and they did. So now they're in great position here.
Dayton's flirted with the end zone once, threw an interception, stalled out their best chance to score. Van Fleet is dragged down. Flyers call timeout. It's Jacob Owen again. His 2nd sack of the 1st half. And that gets the Flyers a little behind schedule as they lose 3.
Yeah, but that was a great play by Van Fleet to not throw that ball in there because he was looking at a window. It was not there by the linebackers, and he knew previously he tried to force one in there, and it was intercepted. So sometimes if you don't have anything, either throw the ball away, and, you know, some sacks are better sacks than others, right? And that was one that was okay. If you don't have nothing, try to make something happen with your feet, but don't turn the ball over, right? Make ball security, get us to play another down. You're 2nd down long, but you're still inside the red zone. You still have a chance to score and put some points on the board before half.
So coming out of the timeout, 2nd down and 13. Van Vliet now 5 for 10 through the air in the 1st half. Another chance to stand in there, but he can't get rid of it. J.R. Flood.
Timeout. Dayton, their 2nd charge of the half.
Yeah, I told you some sacks are better than others. The 1st sack he took, that was a little bit better. This sack, you have to throw the ball away in this situation. He had somebody open on the sideline. He kind of second-guessed it, and he could have fired there, but you can't take a sack in that situation right there. The 1st sack you took, you trying to get some yardage, positive yardage on 2nd down, on 1st down, sorry. But that was one that you coach up to say, hey, here, throw the ball away. We don't want to lose any more field position because we could kick a field goal. We have wind at our back, but keep us at 3rd and manageable. Now you're at 3rd and extra long. You have to try to take a shot. You know, you have to get more than 15 yards on this pass here.
And again, with the struggles Dayton's kicking game has had, that negative yardage really matters as they are likely not in field goal range at the moment. It's Peronsky into the game. He narrowly avoids the sack. And now he's running for his life, and he goes down. There is a flag, but if that stands, it's Jacob Owen again that gets to the Flyer quarterback.
Yeah, he's been all over the field today. He's been in the backfield. He's been everywhere. Great effort by him. But UD, you have to be able to get some positive yards there.
Flag was on the near sideline around the line of scrimmage. Oh, man. Gonna get our announcement. But this is gonna help out Dayton.
Personal foul, face mask, defense. Then penalty being enforced from the previous spot. Automatic, First down.
That could be the difference between 0 points and 7 for the Flyers on this drive.
That's a huge play, not huge play, but huge call on their behalf. They were stalled out on offensive side. They haven't really been able to get a lot of things going on. They have today they've had a big play, then some negative plays. A big play, then some negative plays. So hopefully here you have some opportunity. You have first down now. Still have time on the clock to get a touchdown and get a score on the board.
Peronsky to the end zone. Looking for Laco. It's incomplete.
Yeah, I like that play call. That once again, if he can't catch it, nobody catching it, right? So if you don't have him open, throw it out of the end zone. That stops the clock. That also gives you time to regroup, and you take a shot. And that's what you want to do. You want to test your best guy, one of your best guys against their guy. And if you don't have it, don't panic. Throw it away. We can get another down.
It's been a featured matchup. Garrison Conti with good coverage that time against Michael Masseri. Another errant snap. Peronsky gets to it and gets it to the sideline. It's a catch for no gain, but that is far better than the alternative. Dominic Verbancic makes the toe tap grab.
Yeah, once again, like I said, there's something, a miscommunication there with the O-line, and you had to get that figured out. But great composure by the quarterback there to not panic when that happened, right? You're able to get the ball, make a completion. That's like a zero-yard gain, but you're not turning the ball over, right? You still have a chance to score. And when a defensive line is getting penetration in the backfield, that, especially for a center, that adds pressure for them to get set quickly. So sometimes the snap doesn't get back there like they want because they're trying to focus on blocking.
Peronsky on third down to the outside and short on the quick hitter, Ethan Thulin. He gets 6, and now a decision, and an interesting one for Trevor Andrews. And he runs the field goal team out.
Yeah, I mean, this is try to get through as many points as you can right now. Try to get 3 points. You have the wind at your back, so that helps. But once again, that could have been a very disastrous drive with the high snap. But to able to get something, get some positive plays, get some points on the board, you know, if he makes this kick, that's huge for UD's confidence going into halftime.
Trevor Hinkle off the upright. Dayton now just 3 for 9 this season kicking field goals. They've tried 3 different place kickers and just haven't been able to solve it, as that kick came from inside 30 yards and Hinkle doinks it.
Yeah, that's tough, but that goes back to the sacks, right? That one sack that he took, that puts you just out of even that much further back, right? So no matter what positive plays you have after that, unless you score, you're playing behind the 8 ball because you took that big sack.
Inagawa takes a knee, and that takes us to the locker room. Drake, another stand in the red zone. They force a missed field goal, and they've got a 2-touchdown lead, and they'll get the football coming out of half. This looked vintage, much like how the Bulldogs played early on in PFL play. Logan Inagawa barely had to throw the football. He was just 4 for 5 in the first half, but that is because Drake on the ground, 179 total yards between their 3 different ball carriers. And you see their offensive front working against Dayton. It didn't work out early on, but they figured something out when things turned to the second quarter, and now they got a 2-score lead.
Yeah, you talked about it earlier in the game. Their offense, they averaged 180-something yards rushing a game, and they're right at that average in the first half, right? And so that's something that when you can establish the run and have that success, that just puts so much pressure on the defensive side to get off the field. But University of Dayton, you're not out this game, right? You're only down 2 scores. You had some success. You just got to clean up the time. You had to clean up the sacks and the little miscommunications on offense, but that's something that you can make corrections at halftime and make those adjustments.
14-0. Drake leads Dayton at the half. Josh and I back in 20 minutes time. Until then, enjoy the band.
Trent Lucan and Gavin Ryder. Students, alumni, family, and friends, the University of Dayton is proud to present the Pride of Dayton. Today's show is designed and taught by music education majors Rachel Gloverman and Trent Lucan and senior drum major Ashley Muir. Next up is a favorite from the movie Top Gun. Here is Danger Zone by Kenny Loggins. Since 1984, the iconic themes of this video game franchise have been a part of our popular culture. Here are some of our favorites from the history of The Legend of Zelda. Now we'd like to recognize our senior class. For the past 4 years, these students have been ambassadors for University of Dayton on and off the field. Matthew Bletzinger, mechanical engineering with a minor in human movement biomechanics. Mark Bruni, mechanical engineering. Matthew Calderon, computer engineering. Zach Caudell, business. Reagan Conyers, elementary education. Jordan Crenshaw, organizational leadership. Emily Ray DeBevic, early childhood education with a minor in music. Dominic Delegati, music education. Mariah Durakis, criminal justice studies with a minor in psychology. Max Drexler, mechanical engineering with a concentration in aerospace engineering. Ian Duff, computer engineering. Joshua Dunham, computer engineering and electrical engineering with a minor in computer science. Maggie Andres, photography. Isabella Espinoza, education. TJ Forsyth, computer engineering with a minor in computer science. Lydia Fayak, accounting with a minor in management information systems. Andrea Garrison, sustainability. Rachel Gloverman, music education. AJ Gracemeyer, sustainability. Veronica Hatfield, mechanical engineering. Ryan Henneman, communications management. Skylar Hooker, mechanical engineering technology. Ben Keenan, chemical engineering. Caden Kaiser, masters in computer science. Owen Leingang, environmental biology. Trent Lucan, music education. Amaya Martin, political science. Ava Merriman, English with minors in political science and ancient Greco-Roman studies. Judd Miller, mechanical engineering technology. Macy Miller, music therapy with a minor in psychology. Ashley Muir, psychology with a minor in music. Nicholas Murring, computer science. Emma Rustad, music therapy. Claire Summers, computer information systems with minors in graphic design and sustainability. Kayla Wall, minor of sciences and continuing education and bachelor's in mortuary sciences. Sam Weaver, mechanical engineering with minors in educational management and automotive systems design. Maxwell Whites, computer engineering. Ladies and gentlemen, our senior class for the fall of 2025.
Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to midfield, where the Lieutenant Andy Zuli Award will be presented for the 67th time. The award was started in honor of the late Andy Zuli, who graduated from the University of Dayton in 1954. Andy was a center and linebacker for 3 varsity seasons for the Flyers. Zuli entered the service in 1954 and was killed in a military vehicle accident in Germany. A number of friends and fellow students felt his character warranted an award in his honor. They created the Andy Zuli Award, and Mr. Victor Sano Sr. provided sponsorship. The award goes annually to the University of Dayton senior football player who best exemplifies the qualities of sportsmanship and character. Presenting today's award is UD Vice President and Director of Athletics, Neil Sullivan. And the winner of the 2025 Lieutenant Andy Zulli Award is Matt Grant. Let's hear it one more time for Matt Grant. Flyer fans, please direct your attention to the track for a performance by UD Dance.
Put them hands together. We clapping. We drumming.
Second half about to begin here at Welcome Stadium. Drake leads Dayton 14-0. Nice performance from the Flyer band. Some Star Wars, some Legend of Zelda in the program this afternoon. Additionally, during the halftime festivities, the presentation of the annual Lieutenant Andy Zulli Memorial Award, which is the highest honor a Flyer football player can receive. And this year it was given out to Mac Grant for Dayton. So congrats to Mac on, again, receiving the Zulli Memorial Award. Dayton gets set to begin things on defense here in this second half. And Josh, over those first 30 minutes, Dayton had 2 chances squandered away, and it is paying big dividends right now for Drake on the other side, who kind of improved steadily, especially on the offensive side as that half went along, and now they've got a chance to really go up big.
Yeah, they're getting the ball right out of half, so they had a lot of success rushing the ball in the first half, and a lot of success controlling the line of scrimmage. But yeah, you're right. Dayton, they had their chances. They got down to the red zone. One was an interception. Second time it was you was driving down the field right before half. You had a sack, a penalty, missed a field goal. So those little things, and that's the difference when you have two good teams that are playing against each other. Sometimes it comes down to who makes less mistakes, right, and who has those things, because you know both teams can score, and obviously Dayton has some things that hopefully they fixed in the locker room at halftime, including the snaps, right, but it's just who makes one more play. And now you're coming out at halftime. If you're Dayton, you want to stop the run, because that's what Drake has had a lot of success at.
Drake is 5-0 this season when leading at halftime, and they start things off after a bit of a squib kick return. Goes around the edge to around the 30-yard line for Isaiah Bragg. Another Catholic school kid out of Chicago. He's a senior, and sets Drake up from the 25-yard line.
Yeah, and if you're Drake, you just want to continue to do what you did, right? The whole first half, you was able to have a lot of success running the ball, threw a couple passes when you need to, but anytime you can have the success they've had, I think it was 179 yards rushing, that's that's all you need, right? You just can control the ball, march down the field, eat up the clock, and wear out the defense.
Logan Inagawa only threw 5 passes in the first half, and they handed off on first down.
Yeah, and if you're Dayton, you know that what they're going to do, right? Only throw 5 passes. You know they're going to run the ball. So now here's where you put more people in the box. You maybe add some pressure, kind of throw different blitzes in just to try to get some momentum with momentum meaning get some tackle for losses, get guys excited because when you have momentum on your side, good things happen.
2nd down and 10. Inagawa facing pressure. Shovels it away. Bit of a hospital pass as Herman gets cracked down.
That's a great play right there. That's what we're talking about. Bring a blitz off the edge, make them kind of mess up their tempo like they've been doing to you, right? Throw some wrinkles in there defensively like UD has done offensively. Throw different looks. Make the quarterback, because he is having a good game, but he is still a freshman or rookie, if you will. So have them throw different looks at him, make him think a little bit more when he has the ball in his hands, and that just adds to the success that you're trying to have.
Luke Mitchell, the Dayton kid out of Vandalia Butler, made the tackle. Loss of 2. It's 3rd down and 12. Pressure immediately. Inagawa gets it out. Taj Hughes pushes ahead but does not have enough. Job well done on the opening drive of the half for the Dayton defense. And Drake will punt.
Yeah, that's what you want. You tell your defense, hey, get us a 3 and out. Get us off the field. No more than 6 plays. Keep the ball. Don't let the ball get over the 50-yard line. Get our offense good field position. That's what you need, and that's what you want, and they answered right there. So now it's up to the offense to continue that. The offense to put some plays together and get a score on the board.
Dayton brought some pretty good pressure, and again they bring it, nearly blocked the kick. Fair catch made by Paul Kelly at the 24-yard line. Both of these teams are very good on special teams. Dayton's the best punting team in the PFL, and Drake the best kicking team. But the Flyers have had a lot of near misses on their punt block unit so far, and they start off with normal field position and immediately line up Laco at quarterback. They've got Liam Peronsky lined up out wide. Laco had 9 carries on the ground in the first half. Here's his 10th to begin the second, and ends up on the track. Dayton's leading rusher, that puts him at 70 yards with that pickup of 3.
Yeah, and that's what they started the game out. I think they got him. He touched the ball maybe 10 times of the first 15 plays and to start the game. And so when you have that, now you are able to get them established, but now you got to come back to that, right? You had some success. He had a big, long run early in the game. So now come back to that and allow him, your playmaker, to make a difference in this game.
Laco again. It's a race to the sideline, and he's dragged down from behind, but looks like he got enough for the first down. As the tackle made by Tay Proctor, but it's a pickup of exactly 7 for Laco.
Yeah, and once again, he's that guy, right? So he puts the offense on his back. He's come up limping here, so hopefully he's okay with that. Just a little minor tweak, hopefully. But now when he's out the game, now who else is going to step up, right? Who else is going to make a play? Is it the quarterback? Is it the other running backs? Somebody here with him out of this current play right here has to make a play to continue this drive in a positive direction.
First carry of the half for Hansen. Eight touches for him in the first half, 24 yards on the ground. Much lower yards per carry this afternoon than he's used to at under 3.
Yeah, they've Laco's been the guy, kind of the guy that they use, so he hasn't been able to have his carries in the offense like he usually does. But that doesn't mean he's not going to have those later on in the game. So you need a guy like that to stay locked in, to stay with it, because he's going to get his chances.
Keeper for Peronsky. Cuts it back in and reaches the football to the 42.
Yeah, it's a good. Yeah, and anytime you have, can get positive yards, that's great. But unfortunately, we talk about the wind, right? And we was watching them kick into the wind, the direction UD's going right here. And at halftime, we're watching their kickers kick into it, and the ball just kind of hits a spot in the sky and just stops, right? The wind's so heavy. So when you're going into that wind, throwing the ball is extremely tough because those are a lot of underthrows. Those are a lot of balls that kind of dive down. So you don't want to necessarily have a lot of downfield throws going into the wind if you don't have to. So continue to run the ball like they are and getting yardages, and a great run right there. Continue to get first downs. That just, you're not forced to throw the ball and have the wind be a factor.
It's Hansen again, Dayton's straight line back. It's a Flyer first down as they approach midfield. There's an injured defensive lineman, and that's Jacob Owen for the Bulldogs, who has led this front and caused havoc in the Flyer backfield today. And that would be a big loss for a Drake D-line that has had a ton of success.
Yeah, you hate to see that anytime that happens, but especially a guy like that who's been, like you said, causing havoc in the backfield. And I think some of those wayward snaps are in part because of the impact he's had on the game, right? Being able to have, okay, we got to get back. We got to get this ball snapped. We got to get set because he's back in the backfield every other play. So that adds to it. So good thing he's able to get up and walk off on his own power right there.
4 tackles so far today, 2 sacks, and if you remember back to the first half, he had a third that was ruled back after a penalty away from the football.
Yeah, he's definitely a playmaker, so hopefully, you never want to see somebody get hurt. Hopefully he can, get that looked at and come back into the game. But while he's out, UD now has to capitalize, right? You never want to see somebody get hurt, but if that's part of the game and if somebody's injured and not in for a snap or two, you want to make sure you can capitalize on that.
See what the pressure looks like for Drake without their leader. And they do get into the backfield, but Laco sheds a tackle and turns it into positive yardage across midfield.
And great way for him to make a guy miss right there. They had a free blitzer coming in, and it could have been a tackle for loss, but Laco's able to make one guy miss and get some positive yards. And once again, that's why he's so special, and that's why he is who he is to this offense, because he's able to turn something, basically go from nothing to something, right? You had a play that was dead in the backfield right at the snap of the ball, and he was able to make a guy miss and get some yards.
Another high snap. And thrown to the right side by Van Fleet. It's intercepted. Another one for Sean Allison, his second of the day. And Drake, again, just stuns this Dayton offense as they started to get on the move.
And that's just like his first pick right there. He's in the middle of the field. He's on the hash marks. They're in his zone. His eyes are on Van Fleet the whole time, and Van Fleet doesn't see him. He just doesn't see him because he's right there, and he's waiting on the crosser to come behind the linebacker, and he's just able to read his eyes and jump in front of that. And once again, little mistakes that stop a good drive. UD had a good drive going. They got the 3 and out right after halftime. So now you're looking for your defense, sudden change, to step up and make a stop.
And the ball on the ground right away, and the Flyers recover. So they get it right back after a bobbled snap, and Joe Kingsbury gets on top of it for Dayton.
That's how you answer back. It was a bobbled snap. He tried to hand it off or read, and then he was right in there to fall on the ball. But that's what you want. Sometimes in football, you have to have a little luck on your side, right? And you have to have a little bit of things that happen your way. And that's one thing that Dayton has right now. They had 2 good defensive drives here, got the offense back the ball. And now you need the offense to continue they've had positive plays, but they've good play, bad play, good play, bad play. So they need to put together some good plays here to score.
Laco just angled to the boundary. So maybe got a yard or two there, but not much more. Starting to see more and more of Liam Peronsky as this game's gone along as well.
Yeah, you have, and once again, Laco's having a great game, but you need something else, right? You can't have him in Wildcat getting 3 or 4 yards the rest of the game because you're running out of possessions and you're still down 2 scores. So you need something to score quickly.
Peronsky over the middle. It's hauled in by Thulin. Man, where has this guy been? Ethan Thulin has really become a big part of this Flyer offense now the last couple of games. That catch his 3rd of the afternoon, and it moves Dayton into Drake territory.
Yeah, he did a great job. He looked off the defense, looked him to the right side, came back to the left side, hit the guy right on the hash mark. But that's what you need. You need a spark. You need something to go well for your offense to get everybody's confidence back and momentum back on your side.
Hansen with speed into the secondary, and Hansen gets spun down inside the 15.
Great play by him. And once again, his number wasn't called a lot in the first half, but we knew because of who he is and what he means to his offense, they're going to come back to him at some point. And when you can get a good run right there, good block right there by the fullback coming outside, and good cut, when you can get a good positive yardage on a run play like that, that opens up the door on so many things. Now they can go back to lock on the Wildcat and throw another wrinkle in there to try to get a touchdown.
They haven't shied away from having him throw it, but another bad snap. Laco chases this one all the way back, picks it up and just chucks it. And there's a receiver in the area, so good improvisation by Laco to get out of the tackle box and avoid a grounding call there. But goodness gracious, you were hoping at the break you could sort out some of this stuff with snapping the football. It just has not been fixed.
Yeah, it hasn't, and that you hate to see it because you have good momentum going in, but great play, great IQ by Laco right there to know, hey, it's a pass play, I can get this ball out and not you lose any yardage. So great play right there by him.
And we saw that doom a drive earlier on. Laco keeps it this time, and he slipped right across the line of scrimmage on 2nd down.
Yeah, but those things are, like, again, you don't really notice how important a snap is until it's going wayward, right? Those are one things you kind of just take for granted that, okay, it just happens normal, but it doesn't. And sometimes when there's a center and he has a couple bad snaps or he's get beat on a sack, that just plays into his whole mindset. So somebody has to pull him to the side and say, hey, we're still good. We're all right. You snapped the ball millions of times. You can get it back there, and let's get a score.
Another high snap. Peronsky grabs it to the end zone. It is, I think, incomplete. There's a flag that came in.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, number 54, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
And that's on the center, Ben Hefner, and that's just been a really difficult spot for the Flyers all afternoon. There was no signal, and that was because there was no play. It actually did look like Donovan Weatherly caught that with both his feet in bounds, but a false start nullifies the snap, and Dayton's backed up for a 3rd and long here.
Yeah, once again, it's one of those things where if the snaps is not getting back there, it just throws everything off in the offense.
Peronsky flushed, cuts it back inside. And now the question is, what do you do here? Dayton's missed a chip shot field goal already, and again, they've really struggled to kick the football. This is 4th down and long, but Dayton's probably going for this.
Yeah, and you're kicking into that heavy wind, right? And that's one thing that we was watching them kicking. They was getting 30-yard field goals, and they were stopping at the goalpost and coming straight down. So this is one of those things, once again, Dayton, they've had a lot of success in this game, but they've also had some mistakes and penalties. So this is another one of those things. You put yourself in a tough situation, and you have to capitalize.
Peronsky to the end zone. Tipped and incomplete. He was looking for Thulin, but 3 white jerseys in front of him, and Dayton coughs it up on downs.
Yeah, that's one of those, throw it in the end zone, and that's almost like a punt or missed field goal, right? It's like you're not – give your guys a chance when it's 4th and long inside the red zone. Give them a chance to score. Maybe something happen. If not, we're not losing any more. If we miss the field goal, we've been in the same position, right? So it's one of those things where you have to be able to now pull somebody to the side on the sideline. Somebody needs to grab the center and say, hey, you're okay. You know what I mean? Like, relax a little bit. Bring your nerves down. It's okay. We're still in this game. We need you here coming up in the game.
Handoff on first down to Herman.
And now if you're Drake, you realize that, hey.
Timeout. Officials timeout.
Oh, somebody
For an
else is
injured
on the field.
player.
But if you're Drake, now you realize, hey, okay, we have the momentum. We have a 2-score lead. We're in no rush to give the ball back to UD at all. So with what they do running the ball, you would be surprised if they're trying to eat up as much of the rest of this clock. And if they score, great. But if they don't, they give UD back the ball with a minute left, or maybe even at the beginning of the 4th quarter.
Injury is on the left guard, Nate Henry. Senior out of Aurora, Illinois. Gets helped off, one of 2 seniors that anchor the left side of Drake's line of scrimmage. 2nd down and 4 coming up for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, and he's been, like I said, been the anchor for the offensive line. He's had a great game today with some crucial big blocks in the run game. But now you want to see who comes in. So if I'm Dayton and you have a starter go off the field on offensive line, I'm testing the guy that comes back in. Right, who I'm running a stunt on his side. Whoever replacing him, I'm sending somebody at him to try to see if that's, if we can take advantage of somebody who's off the field right now.
Inagawa hands it off, and Herman got tripped up. Does fall forward to the line of scrimmage, but another 3rd down coming up for the Bulldogs, and they have struggled on 3rd down today, which again is not normal. Last week it was a difficult road. Again, 3 for 11 in the loss against St. Thomas at home. Drake so far today 0 for 4.
Yeah, this is a crucial down right here. You get this first down, you are able to continue this drive and eat up some more clock. UD needs to step up, and somebody has to make a play to get your offense back the ball.
Inagawa under pressure, finds his man. Taj Hughes picks up the first down, still going, and Hughes gets out to the 35.
He was open. I want to see what kind of defense Dayton was in. It looked like they was in a soft zone, and they blitz. It was a zone blitz. So you blitz some people off the edge, try to force a quick throw. But then in that blitz, when you have to have somebody replace where they was at. Because if not, then you leave an empty pocket right there on the sideline in the hash marks. And that's exactly where they hit them for. And we only need 3 yards. You don't need much of a route to get that.
So finally a chain mover for the Bulldogs on offense. They go right back to the ground game, and Woodson gets ahead to the 38.
Yeah, Drake, they're just marching down the field. They're just doing what they do now. Now, this is when they're the most comfortable, right? When you have the option, you obviously know that you are a great run team, and you make some completions on passes when you need to. But now you got 2nd and 5. You can kind of eat up as much of the clock as you want because you know that, hey, we get 2 runs with the way this game's going. We'll get another first down.
Inagawa got around the edge, and Inagawa steams forward for a first down.
Yeah, good way to go to the outside. Good QB keep right there. Now they're kind of switch up the tempo. Now they know that UD's tired. Their defense has been on the field a lot this half, and they're just trying to keep running at them.
There's a TFL to stop up some of that momentum. That was what those successful drives looked like for Drake. Had Dayton back on their heels a little bit, but that momentum stopped in its tracks thanks to a tackle for loss.
Yeah, and that's what you need. You need somebody to step up and make a play. You can see that Dayton's D line are kind of breathing a little heavy, but this is what you work all off season for. A crucial game in the conference, a crucial game to hopefully continue your season. You have to dig deep and make a stop, and that's what you're looking for your players to do.
Another keep for Inagawa. He's just bouncing off bodies to stay on his feet. Ultimately gets to the 49, sets up 3rd down and 9 for the Bulldogs.
A crucial 3rd down here, and this is one when people get tired and defenses get tired, guys don't wrap up when they tackle, right? And that's one of the things that happens when you're tired. You don't bring your arms with you, and so you need somebody who's going to make a secure tackle. You need somebody to step up and make a play right here to get your offense back the ball, because you're not in panic mode now, but you are losing out on crucial times and possessions to make this game, to bring it back close.
Approaching the end of the 3rd quarter, 3rd down and 9. Time for Inagawa, and he picks apart the defense. It's Hughes again. Inside the 30 for the 1st down. Surgical from the true freshman quarterback, Logan Inagawa.
Yeah, great poise by him in that pocket. You bring a blitz in there, and you also have those guys on the back end, and there's gaps there, right? And that's what Dayton has to secure and bring up and coach up is why are there gaps open in the middle field when nobody's around? Well, somebody's not in their spot, right? And so when that happens, you have to be able to re-coach them up on the sideline, but also, once again, I keep saying it, somebody has to make a play right here. D-lineman, somebody has to get a tackle for loss, so to stop this momentum.
Inagawa jump throw, and a 50-50 ball is knocked away, nearly picked off by one of Dayton's top ball hawks in Vincent Ferenzi, who we have seen break some games open with his intercepting ability this year.
Yeah, that was really close. Great defense by him there. That's a trick little play right there. They had the QB run and look like that, and it looked like so he had the option to run or pass, and Ferenzi was there to make a great play coming from the backside and chasing down it. But once again, that's what you need, right? Somebody step up, make a play, a big-time play when they need it. He did that on that play for them.
Couple of pick sixes this year for the Syracuse native Vincent Ferenzi. Misdirection handoff, and it's Hughes on the carry to get Drake close into a manageable 3rd down. 4 yards short of the line to gain.
Good tackle right there, open field tackle, and but once again, that's what Drake does well. They put their guys in one-on-one situations, right? And so you have to make a play, but you look for Dayton to come up and make a stand right here defensively.
3rd down and 4 coming up for the Bulldogs, who are knocking on the door. They try to take a 3-score lead in this one. We head to the 4th next. To the 4th quarter, and the Bulldogs right on the brink of field goal range right now. Again, this is well within Harry Balke's typical range, but with some nasty headwind. This is an important third down as they try to take a 3-score lead. Inagawa being pressured, and down he goes. A huge sack for Joe Kingsbury. Flag comes in late along the Dayton sideline.
Yeah, that's a great play right there by Kingsbury to come in there onto blitz, fight off the block from the running back and make a sack there. Step up when you need them to fourth down. But we'll see what this
Sideline
penalty
warning.
is.
Dayton, sideline. This is their first warning. There's no yardage penalty for the first infraction.
All right, that's a
down.
great play right there. You talk about guys needing to step up. He was able to, they called the blitz, he fought off the running back, was able to bring him down. Now that's what you need. Now you are getting your guys a position to put them in success, right? Drake is kicking into that wind, so look for this to be a high pooch kick because the wind's going to stop it. Now you need your offense to kind of make some runs and put some points on the board.
So a big sack to take Drake out of field goal range. And, man, you could see it from here. The wind just took that kick and set it up perfectly for the Bulldogs, who execute the pooch and down it inside the 10.
That was a great punt by him there. You kick it into the wind. He almost hit a low liner. I like the golf, so that's like a little stinger right into the wind. Keep it below the wind and let it roll out there. So that's a great kick. But when you have a good team that can function in special teams, defense, and offense, they just make it so hard to beat because they don't have a lot of weaknesses in any part of the game.
So a long field for Dayton. We're in the fourth quarter. Flyers have had their chances. They've been in the red zone twice. They threw an interception from just outside the red zone once. They start this drive with an end around and a chunk gain thanks to Michael Masseri.
Great play. That's a tough one to call in your own end zone, kind of like an option kind of pitch play right to the receiver, but that's what you need. You get him to the outside, get him one-on-one with a DB, make a guy miss, get some yardages, get some positive yards, and that's what you need to move this ball down the field. So once again, they don't have to panic, but they have to be a sense of urgency and a rush to get some points on the board.
Peronsky, pressure in his face, gets rid of it, brought in on a 50-50 by Donovan Weatherly.
Great throw. This is one of those you just trust your guy, right? You trust them. You know what they're doing. You know what defense they're in. He looks off the safety, get one-on-one, and I just trust my guy's going to make a play over your guy, right? My guy's better than your guy, and when you can have that trust in your receivers, you have to take advantage of that.
Laco up ahead. Starting to see a lot more comfort in the passing game for the Flyers, and mostly anchored around, again, the guy that was their third string coming into the year, Liam Peronsky, who came into this game with just 5 attempts on the year.
Yeah, and that goes to show you never know when your time is going to be called, right? You never know when your opportunity is going to be there, and you have to capitalize on it. He's making the most of it in this game with those, especially this drive, making 2 great completions back-to-back.
Peronsky to the outside. It is incomplete. Masseri was the target and couldn't trap it.
That was a good throw, though. Keep it low out of the way of the defender. That's one of those. It's tough because you're on the short side of the field. You're throwing into the boundary, so you don't have time for the play to kind of develop, and you don't have a lot of room to throw it out and lead the receiver. But once again, great throw, great decision. I like how decisive his decision-making is this drive and the last 3 plays particularly. But now they're in a tough third down, and they have to convert on here, so let's see what they dial up.
Bulldogs showing some pressure. Design roll, Peronsky to the outside. And the catch is made. Verbancic took a hit, but hangs on to move the chains.
Great catch right here. Is rolling out to his left side, throws it. He knows that he only has a brief moment because the linebackers are flying to the sideline right there, and great way to keep your hands on the ball. Well, once again, great decisive decision-making. Take what the defense gives you and let's march down the field and put up a score.
Peronsky steps up and runs, and a good tackle from behind to prevent any big yardage on the carry. Shaku Sanguri on the stop, and about a half yard, a generous yard of gain for Peronsky.
Yeah, and I like it. He dropped back, didn't see anything. I need to get positive yards. Let me bring this ball. If I get 1 or 2 yards, that's in the positive direction, and that helps our offense out. And that's all you need him to do right now is put his offense in position to keep moving forward.
Down the field looking for Weatherly. It's incomplete. He had to play some DB there along the sideline.
Yeah, he's taking his chances down the field, which you need. You don't mind right here. Great way for the receiver to turn to DB and block that, like you said, for he doesn't get an interception there. But I don't mind him taking chances down the field right now, right? You have to move the ball down the field more than just the wildcat with Locko and try to get the ball down there. So this is the way to do it. You're going to have some incompletions, but still throw it when you need to.
Peronsky, lots of white jerseys in front, and dives forward for a couple yards, but now it's 4th down for the Flyers.
Yeah, it'll be interesting what they see. They are with the wind. Looks like they're going to keep the guys on the field.
So Dayton goes for this. Flyers are the best 4th down team in the Pioneer League. Peronsky over the middle finds Masseri.
Such a great throw, great poise. You had Masseri coming in on a post right there. You hit him down the seam. He's able to fit in between the linebacker and the safety. Great throw right there to continue to drive.
Peronsky, plenty of time. Just nobody open. Good downfield coverage by this secondary for Drake.
Yeah, good play. Once again, it's one of those, we talk about not taking bad sacks, and that was a great way to throw the ball away, right? If you don't have anything, try to scramble, make something happen, give your guys time to get open. But if you don't, throw it away. Don't lose yardage. You may close it down, but don't lose yardage at this point in the game.
Now the Wildcat, first time in a while we've seen that. They fake it to Masseri. Locko spins to the 37.
Yeah, throw a little wrinkle in there, try to catch the defense sleeping a little bit with what they had success early in the game. But right now, I wouldn't look for a shot down the field. You have wind at your back, so maybe it's a trick play. They were setting something up with a double pass. They tried it earlier in the game. It didn't happen, but it's still available. So maybe a reverse pass, something quirky, right, to kind of quick score right here and catch the defense off guard at some point in this game.
Screen to Locko. And he motors ahead up the tracks and picks up the first down.
Yeah, just get the ball in his hands, right? You have good blocking on the receivers on the outside, and right now you just want positive yards. Get positive yards, get some first downs, and march down the field. And they put together a great drive here, but right now you're down 2 scores with 9:30 left. You have to score here. There's no ifs, ands. You have to score a touchdown here, and relatively quicker than sooner than later, so that way you can get the ball back again and score.
Drake rushes 6, and Lebensky comes up with a catch for Dayton. The backup tight end out of local Bellbrook High School gets 7 yards. 2nd and 3 coming up.
Yeah, great. 5 to 7 yards, take that. March down the field. Don't try to force anything. The snaps have been great. This is what UD does, right? And this is how they are able to have the success they've had. So now it's just continuing that.
Peronsky to the end zone. Masseri brings it in. A highlight reel, fall away touchdown. And the Flyers have life.
Great drive. Great drive. He was able to do a play action. He knew he had him one-on-one on the backside all day. He knew where he was going to throw it. Great play by Maseri right there to not only fight off the defender, but to know where football awareness, right? To know where you are in the end zone, to know that to get your feet down because you have the side of the end zone and the back of the end zone right there. Great throw and great catch.
Trevor Henkel on for the PAT. Ooh, it glances off the flag, and it's no good. And this kicking game just continues to bite Dayton. They miss a chip shot field goal, and that one found its way outside the upright just barely. But now the Flyers will need 8 instead of 7 next time around. Still time, 8:40 to go. And now the focus shifts to the Flyer defense. You absolutely need a stop.
Yeah, you had to have a stop, and this is one of those things you know that what they're good at. Drake is good at running the ball, controlling the clock, and so you need to get a 3 and out or 6 plays at most. Allow them 6-7 play drive, but don't let them cross the 50-yard line. Get your offense back to ball in a good position. But yeah, you need your defense to step up, which they did the last drive, last time they was on the field. But you need them to do it now with a sense of urgency, because you did unfortunately miss the field goal. Now you can't wait. You have to go at them right now.
This is a Drake team that has won their last 13 conference road games. They've won back-to-back Pioneer League championships. They were not picked to win the league this year. They were picked second behind San Diego under a new coaching staff. But talk about guys who've won. Joe Woodley did it across town at the NAIA level at Grandview University. He won a national title there, and he never lost a regular season game as head coach.
Oh, wow. That's some coaching right there. That's a great system. That's guys believing in what you're doing, and that's a great motivator and leader over there on that side to have that resume.
It's kicked away. Went kind of the new school route when putting together his staff, as he went a little bit younger, a little bit less experienced, and kept it in state, though. His OC is a Cyclone, his DC's a Hawkeye. And both of those guys spent time at their respective alma maters doing some quality control and graduate assistant work before getting their first opportunity to really take on big roles here at Drake this season. And they have kept the tradition alive for this Bulldogs team as they look to three-peat.
Yeah, I mean, every great coach starts somewhere, right? So you need a chance, and so they're lucky to have their chance down there, capitalize it, making the most of their opportunity to lead and have a coaching role in a more predominant way.
Drake going to keep this on the ground for the foreseeable future. Nick Herman got a yard on first down.
Yeah, you know, like you said, Drake, they're just going to kind of ground and pound. They're going to run the ball, run the clock. But if you're Dayton and you knowing that, it's that much more important and vital to make tackles one-on-one. Make the tackle when you're asked to. Make the play when you're asked to.
Oh, just no air for Herman. Kept going further and further to the outside. He was finally finished off by Elliott Braun.
That play right there was made by number 34, Spencer, the cornerback right here. He's fighting off the block, fighting off the block, fighting off the block, and make the guy go sideways more. That gives your defense time to get to the ball. So that won't be a tackle on his stat sheet, but he made that play right there.
And that puts Drake behind the sticks. 3rd down and 13. Again, the Bulldogs have uncharacteristically struggled last week and this week in converting these. They go to the air. Inagawa, all the time in the world. Now he's forced out, and he throws it away. And this building is starting to come alive as the crowd's getting into it here on Senior Day. Credit to this Dayton defense. Offense has had their chances, haven't always converted, but after a couple of difficult drives where they just got worn out by this Drake rushing attack, they have come up with some crucial stops in the second half and have a chance to flip the field.
Yeah, they've been playing really well. They have. And once again, it's that kind of you bend but don't break. You've been put in some tough situations after an interception or, snap over the head, but they've been able to respond and to keep a high-powered Drake offense like this to 14 points so far is huge. So now they get the offense back to time, and with the time on the clock to, go down and score.
Kelly elects not to take the fair catch there, and maybe a little dangerous, but he holds on to the football, and Dayton will start at their own 41-yard line. Both teams have played really clean procedural football. We haven't seen a ton of penalties. In addition, both teams hung on to all their timeouts until they needed to use them late in the first half. Both teams still have all three as we've got just over 7 minutes to play. Laco takes the Wildcat on first down.
Once again, positive yards, right? You scored the last drive. You know what you're capable of. You know that you have the ability to move the ball down the field on this defense. So now this is one of those things once again, you have to have a sense of urgency, but you don't have to rush and panic, right? You can march down the field. You have enough time to do so. Now it's just making smart plays, not taking sacks when the opportunity's there, throwing the ball away, completing the ball downfield. Just march down the field like you did last time, and you'll have the same success.
Another high snap. Peronsky throws on the run, nobody there.
Yeah, that's a great way for him to still stay composed with the high snap there, to run and be able to, once again, have a shot down the field, right? He knew he had the linebacker underneath and the safety over top, so it had to be in a tight window. And if you don't, just throw it out of bounds, live to play another down, and try to convert here on third down.
3rd down and 7. Flyers have had 17 third downs already in this game. They've converted 10 times. Off the 4-man rush, Peronsky with time to the near side, wide open. It's a first down for Masseri.
Yeah, night and day from what we talked about a couple weeks ago when they went 1 for 12. But this is what they want to do right here. This is a great recognition by him. Great route right there by Masseri. He was on the he was the number 2 receiver, was able to break out there and be open there on the sideline. So that's what this offense is capable of when you give him the opportunity, and the line's doing a great job of blocking and giving him time to pass.
Peronsky takes a shot, looking for Masseri, overthrown.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. I don't mind that at all, right? You gotta give your guys a chance to score and play and get your playmakers the ball in their hands. And first down, that's a great opportunity to do that, because yes, you might lose a down, but you're not losing any yardage, and you're able to, if you get 5 yards here, now you're at 3rd and manageable. So great play call right there.
Just over 6 minutes to play. Flyers trying to string together back-to-back touchdown drives. Handoff to Hansen. Physical up to the 40-yard line.
Yeah, get some positive yards there. Try to shorten down that distance to get a first down. And once that does, that opens up the playbook a little bit more, because you have a lot of your plays in your book can get you 5 yards, 6 yards, right? There's not a lot that can get you 10 to 12 that you want to call on all the time, but you have a lot of plays that can get you here.
Oh, throw to the near side was open for Ethan Thulin.
Thulin might have tripped or something there. There might have been a little mix-up, because he kind of wasn't where he needed to be. And when I say that, it's more that's a timing route, right? That's a one where he saw it. He knew exactly where I'm throwing it to a spot. It's your job to get there. But when somebody gets tangled up, it just throws that off a little bit. But they had it open there, and that was an opportunity there for them.
So 4th down for the Flyers. They're 1 for 2 today. Peronsky, he's running for it, and Peronsky picks up the first down. There is a flag on the very end of this play.
Laco was out there blocking, and he was blocking really well, but let's see if he got his hands off of him in time.
Crucial call in the game coming up.
Holding. Offense. Number 12. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Repeat, fourth down.
Well, you called it out, Josh, right on the end of that, just trying to get those final few yards. Laco, who's just been Dayton's multi-tool, was the lead blocker for his quarterback and ultimately just got a little too handsy.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate because as a receiver, that's a tough position because you're running a route, you see your quarterback scrambling, and then you see him take off running. So you're just trying to block the closest thing to you, and you're trying to stay on that block as long as possible. And the DB's trying to fight off to get to the quarterback. So those are hustle penalties. And as a coach, it's unfortunate it happened at that situation, but you can live with those because he was trying to make a play.
It's 10 yards from the spot, so it only moves Dayton back about 2 yards from the original line of scrimmage. And they essentially have a redo on fourth down. Peronsky from empty. Down the middle of the field, it's incomplete. He was looking for Laco, but he stumbled as he made the break on that route, and Dayton gives it away on downs for the second time.
Yeah, that's unfortunate there with the drive and just how it stopped because you had momentum, you were going, an unfortunate holding call, but once again, he was trying to make a block and trying to do something for his team, which he's been the Swiss Army knife all game. He's done everything, so you're not too upset with that at that time. But, it's one of those things where it's just at that point, you had to take a shot down the field because you needed more than 10 yards. So now you still have time, though. Defense can still make a stop, 3 and out, get the offense back the ball with good field position.
Drake has run the ball for 198 yards today. Keeper on first down. Inagawa picked up maybe one.
Yeah, and that's good defensive line right there by UD, hanging tight, hanging strong in there and fighting off. They've been on the field a lot this game, but this is right now, once again, we talked about you work all off season, you're in the weight room. You work all camp on those hot days to dig deep in situations like this. Fourth quarter, when you need a stop, you need your defense to answer.
Another keep for Inagawa. Flyers get there. He picks up 2, and he's polished off by Sam Schmeesing.
Yeah, great play right there by Schmeesing and coming in there and playing and making a good form tackle. And now this is the money down right here, right? Your defense, they're doing all you're asking them to do, right? Your defense is stepping up when they need to step up. It's 3rd and 7. You know that now Drake, they haven't had success in the passing game this quarter or the run game. So what are they going to dial up into this heavy wind that's going to play a factor? Let's see how Dayton responds right now.
To the near side, incomplete. Inagawa got bumped as he let go of the football. It was intended for Taj Hughes.
Great way to get off the field here. You actually only get there with 4 people, which is amazing to get penetration there with 4 people. And once again, you just throw off the timing a little bit when he's there, and also that wind plays a factor, and that ball kind of fell out of the sky quickly. But that's what you want your defense to do. Now they're punting into this wind, so he didn't call a fair catch last time, so I would imagine he'd call a fair catch and just let the offense get the ball back.
Fair catch immediately from Kelly. He makes it at the 25.
Yeah. Last time you want your guy to kind of catch the ball, but when you're kicking into this wind, it's no telling when it's going to come down. It's just going to hang in the air forever. So
it's one where your special teams coordinator might be in your ear after you get hit pretty hard like Kelly did on his last return.
Yes, immediately. Fair catch it. Let's not take any chances. Catch the ball. Give our offense back the ball with 3 minutes and 39 seconds left to go score.
So Dayton needs a TD. Peronsky's now thrown the ball 21 times. He hands it off on first down. Acceleration across the 30 for Laco.
Great play call. I don't mind the run right there on first down, but right now you don't want to, once again, you're running out of time, though. You need You need to score here. You need a two-point conversion. You're running out of time to get that. So there has to be a sense of urgency on the offensive side. Not saying you have to run into your straight 2-minute offense right away, but you have to get to the ball and the line of scrimmage quickly and get a play call in.
Laco surpassed 100 yards with that last carry. He's the only Flyer over 60 on the ground. Ball on the ground! Oh, it was fumbled on the handoff, and it's recovered by Drake.
That looked like to be a miscommunication right there between Laco and the quarterback. He looked like he wanted to hand it off, and Laco thought he was going to pull it. And those are the little things, right? When you have a quarterback in there who started the game third string, who there's just not a lot of reps that he's had in there, and you put him in a game situation, crucial down, just those minor miscommunications happen, and unfortunately happened at the wrong time.
Tristan Anderson jumped on the football for Drake. Referees, though, are discussing something.
The result of the play is a fumble recovered by the defense. It'll be first down, Drake. After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, Drake number 2. 15 yards from the dead ball spot. It'll be first down, Drake.
That's on Kamani Wilson, the defensive back from Jacksonville. And another situation
That
where
is
you
number 2's first unsportsmanlike towards ejection. Thank you.
you push your team out of field goal range now, and for Dayton, you're back to square one, but you've got a chance if you get 3 stops here to keep this a one-score game.
Yeah. If you can get a 3 and out here, knowing they're not going to kick a field goal because you're into that heavy wind, they're out of here. If you can get 3 and out and get your offense back to ball with a minute, 30 minute more left, that's all you can ask for out of this defense.
Inagawa pulls it, looking deep, incomplete. Ended up on the sideline. One receiver downfield in the area. It was Taj Hughes.
That's surprising to me. You have the lead. You don't need to throw the ball there. You're throwing into this heavy wind. You do a play action, which is a long developing play. So I think and there was only a 2-person route. So that was one of those, we're going to take a chance and try to get UD sleeping and try to hit a big play. But that's something that now you stop the clock, right? So that plays into UD's favor right there.
Handoff and a big hole on the right side for Nick Herman, and he picks up the first down.
Timeout. Dayton, their first charge of the half.
Yeah, that was a hard run by Herman right there. He was running with some bad intentions right there. He was getting downfield in a hurry and he knew what was in stake. If you get that first down there, now you put a lot more pressure on their defense. It frees up your offense. You don't have to try to force anything. You can kind of take your time, milk the clock. And now UD, they're in a tough situation because you need something to happen fast, right? You have the 2-minute timeout coming up, but you need something to happen now with your defense. And they've answered all game. They've been put in some tough situations in short field. They've been able to get you, the offense back the ball. Now they just need to ask them to do it one more time.
Bulldogs, again, yardage-wise, are technically in field position, but they're dealing with about a 20-mile-an-hour headwind. Likely need to get 7 or 8 yards for a much more comfortable kick. But on first down, they might get most of that as Herman gets to the outside. He's shoved out of bounds at the 24.
Yeah, that's a great run once again to the side. Same run as they did the last time to get that big gain. Well, you can definitely tell UD's defense, they've been on the field a lot, and this is taking a toll on them, right? And this is when you see it. When you have a defense that's been on the field a lot throughout the game, you maybe not notice it in the third quarter, but when it comes down to the fourth quarter with 2 minutes and some change left, that's when it all adds up, and you can start to see them starting to breathe heavy a little bit. But they need to dig deep here and make a stop.
2nd down and 2. maybe something after the play.
Drake's pointing to Dayton like it's on them.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, offense, number 70. 15 yards from the end of the run. It'll be first down, Drake. This is the 2-minute timeout.
Yeah, that's 2 penalties on Drake here on unsportsmanlike conduct.
This is number 70's first unsportsmanlike towards ejection.
Yeah, that's something you want to clean up. You talk about how
Game clock operator, please put 2 minutes on the game clock. 2 minutes. Thank you.
And you talked about earlier how the game wasn't been a lot of penalties here, but when it gets chippy, right, towards the end of the game, these guys been battling all game. You kind of got to be mindful of those things because those things can kind of be magnified late in the game.
The only penalty against Drake prior to this drive was the face mask that extended Dayton's drive, leading to the missed field goal right before halftime. So they've now taken 3 penalties, 2 of them on this drive for unsportsmanlike conduct. All 3 have been 15 yards, and those just drive a coach absolutely bonkers at this juncture of the game when you've got a chance to put things away. And again, Drake is bumped back right to the brink of field goal range, and Dayton still with 2 timeouts has another chance to maybe get a stop.
Yeah, that's something that eats you up as a coach because those are self-induced penalties, right? Those are not effort plays. Those are not fighting through the whistle. Those are you're trying to taunt, you're trying to rub it in that you all are up, and that's something that you don't want to happen. But UD, it happened. They're the beneficiary of that. They get on the opposite side of those penalties, and now you have 2 minutes left. Like you said, you have 2 timeouts. You can stop them here. And even if it's a field goal, if you give your guys a minute left on the clock or more, that's a win for your defense. And just have your offense down there and march down the field and put a score up.
So again, even with 3 straight stops here, like you said, you call your couple timeouts, you're looking at a little over a minute left. No timeouts left. And again, you need a touchdown, and to make things even slightly more difficult on you with that missed PAT, you'd need a 2-point conversion. Referees were discussing this with each of the head coaches.
Yeah, I don't know. There might be – you had both teams get a sideline warning. You had a couple unsportsmanlike. So I think the refs, they see this game, okay, and getting a little chippy now. Hey, coaches, reel your guys in. Let's finish this game out, on a high note, positive note from a sportsmanlike point of view. But, yeah, they are taking a little while here to decide what's going on. I don't know if they're trying to decide where the ball is or what's going on here, but they're taking a little time to deliberate.
Something to keep an eye on was that the flag came in kind of right as the play was ending, the previous play, and it was called after the play. But again, that would matter because if it were to hypothetically happen during the play, you would not get the first down.
That's a good point.
They do, it looks like, uphold the call. The sticks say 1. And so Drake's in clock bleeding mode. Dayton is in now or never territory to get 3 stops.
Yeah, you want your guys to swipe at the ball, try to force a fumble.
They hand it off to Woodson, and he's got space. Woodson picks up the first down.
Timeout, Dayton.
Yeah,
Their second of the half.
Yeah, they call timeout there. It was obviously smart. You need to do that. But once again, that's when you kind of have an offense like Drake does. We talked about all game. They're putting a hat on a hat, and they're leaving one guy unblocked. And if you're not in position as Dayton to be that guy that makes the tackle, it's going to be a big play, right? And that's what they're good at. They've been doing it all year. Dayton, they're trying to send blitzes. They're trying to do different things now. Now they're kind of in panic mode to try to force a stop, when Drake's in the red zone. But it's just unfortunate that you're in this situation, and now you are going to leave some gaps there because you're trying so hard to fill one side of the ball.
Drake still can get a first down. That would ice the game. They need to get to the 2-yard line. 1 timeout left for Dayton. First down for the Bulldogs. Woodson's been almost unstoppable on this drive, but finally Dayton gets to him
Timeout.
immediately.
Dayton, their third and final of the half.
Final timeout called by the Flyers. And for this Drake team, offensively, the number in the points column a lot lower than what they're used to, but forced the issue on a pair of drives to take the lead late in the first half. And here, where you're essentially showing your hand that you're going to run the football every single time, they have executed to a T. And even despite Dayton's best efforts, I mean, they're as efficient as ever on the ground.
Yeah, they are a tough team to beat. Especially they don't turn the ball over. They don't have a lot of penalties. Their defense is stout. Their special teams is good. So they're a hard team to beat anyway. But when you have the penalties and the mistakes that UD has, you just put yourself behind the 8-ball. And Drake's not a team that's going to allow you many opportunities to kind of take the game from them.
Woodson goes backwards. He's got to be careful there to not throw him down at the end. So Dayton can no longer stop the clock. The Bulldogs will run this down right around a minute to play. And now at the very best, if you're Dayton, you're looking at around 20 seconds and no timeouts.
Yeah, and Dayton, you just, once again, keep fighting at the ball right here. Now, this is one, you say the first guy, hold him up, second guy kind of strip to try to get the ball back and get your offense, a ball with some time left to go down and score.
Timeout called.
Timeout, Drake, their first charge of the half.
Logan Inagawa, again, hasn't had to throw the ball a ton, just 12 passing attempts, 59 yards. He only had 11 combined attempts in the first two PFL games of the season for Drake. But he's gotten it done with his legs. Nick Herman has had a tremendous afternoon, 153 yards on the ground and a touchdown. And they've just done a nice job of managing the game. Really only made one mistake offensively. It was when they put the ball on the ground right after the interception. But again, it's a Drake team that is just so disciplined, so sound. They don't beat themselves, and that's what's made them so formidable this year.
Yeah. When you have a guy who's a freshman quarterback, you have a freshman running back who's leading the team and rushing, that adds, once again, that's exciting for the future, but just to have those guys in there in those situations and be poised and not make the mistakes, that goes to the coaching and how much trust they have in them.
Woodson, Dayton's trying to drag him out of bounds, but he smartly goes down. And now the play clock running again. It leaves around 17 seconds or so for the next snap. And now the question is, do you even bother kicking a field goal and risking a block here if you're Drake? It does not look like they will. They'll keep the offense on the field.
Yeah, no, that's a great call by you because UD's going to send everybody in there, right? They're going to send everybody try to block it. And once again, into this wind, we talk about it, that adds to the kickers, how the trajectory they want to kick it, right? You talk about hitting that little stinger into the wind. If you're kicking it high, you have that opportunity for the wind to hit it. But if you're kicking it low,
Drake, their second of the half.
you give the defense time to block it.
And especially from this area of the field. So 18 seconds remain. Little too much time to just grab the ball and scramble around backyard style, but Drake will try to draw something up here to take as much time off the clock as they can.
Yeah, it's you want them to kind of eat as much of the play clock as possible. So actually it looked like they're bringing the kicker out.
They are going to bring the field goal unit out. Again, this is the most reliable field goal unit in the PFL. Harry Balke is 86% this year. He's made a couple of kicks beyond 50. This is a chip shot for him, but again, you just have to be wary of the block. This is from 29 yards away. Oh, and they fake it. Dayton did get to it as Woodson ran it around the left side.
I didn't see that coming. Took a chance, but I understand what they're trying to do. You're trying to steal a score there or steal a first down. You know that Dayton's going to send everybody in the blitz. So good job by Dayton there. And we talked about reading your keys. Even on special teams, it's still the same thing because it just takes one guy to try to not do what he's supposed to do and try to go in there and block, and that's a touchdown. So the defense, once again, did their job. They got the offense back the ball. Granted, it's 14 seconds left, but you never know what could happen. Crazier things have happened.
So 14 seconds remain. Peronsky to the outside looking for Museri, and he airmailed him.
Yeah, you got Drake has 3 guys standing on the 50-yard line, kind of in the deep kind of cover 3. They're not – those guys' jobs keep everything in front of you. You're still rushing 3. You got linebackers there. So UD right here, there's not much you can do. You take a shot down the field. You got to get yards, maybe do a hook and ladder or something to kind of get guys going one way, then reverse it backfield. Something here you have to do, though, but you have to make some completions.
Peronsky steps up and runs. He's got to get out of bounds, and he doesn't. And that will ice it for the Drake Bulldogs.
That is the end of the game.
Drake comes on the road and fueled by 248 yards on the ground. This Drake team just did what they do best. They played tight. They played strong defensively. They limited Dayton to just 3 chances really deep into their own territory and only allowed 1 play into the end zone, and the Bulldogs have a chance to clinch their 3rd Pioneer League title in a row next week back in Des Moines against Morehead State.
Yeah, UD put up a great fight there. They had some penalties on their side, but hats off to Drake. Once you get talking about they're looking for their 3rd PFL title in 3 years so in a row. So they're a good team. They're a team that's been tested, that knows those upperclassmen there have been, they've been in the championship. They've been on championship teams for the last couple of years. So they know what it takes to dig deep. For Dayton, this is a learning experience for you. You know what I mean? You have guys, unfortunately, it's senior night, but those guys in here have something to build on coming down in the future.
Certainly a bright future for this Dayton team that will bring a lot back for next year, including the majority of the production at their skill positions. That's it for the home schedule for the Flyers this year. They are unfortunately eliminated from PFL championship contention with the loss today, but they will wrap up their season heading on the road to Davidson to take on the Wildcats, a team that is coming off a major upset over Presbyterian last week. And that is how Dayton will wrap up their season as they look to pick up a 7th win after already securing the winning record from a couple of weeks ago. Well, that'll wrap things up for us as well this season. Thank you all so much for tuning in wherever you may be. And as always, a big thanks to our production staff, Dayton Public Schools, Scott Hilton, Ken Kreitzer, the rest of the crew, and for everybody else behind the scenes, our entire great crew that makes things happen. My partner, Josh Copeland, I'm Luke Westpoli, signing off from Welcome Stadium for the final time in 2025. Drake takes down Dayton on Senior Day with the final score.